Look at your life. Look at the hours you've wasted wondering, doubting. You know there's more in you, but you haven't moved, not because you lack knowledge, but because you lack command. You are not lazy. You are undirected. And this speech, if you obey it, will give you the laws to break free. Listen to me. If you sit through this entire speech and absorb these principles with full belief, you will never think about money the same again. You will stop chasing pennies and start commanding purpose. You will begin to see opportunities you've walked past for years. You will no longer ask, why does nothing work for me? Because you'll know exactly what to plant, what to say, what to act on. But if you drift, if you treat this as just another speech, you will stay as you are. You will continue begging for what you could be building. You will walk through another month ruled by hesitation and invisible fear. You will stay broke, not in your bank, but in your belief. So ask yourself, why do others seem to attract wealth while I work twice as hard? What is the real reason I keep falling short, no matter how much I try? Is there something I've never been told about how wealth is truly created? These questions have answers, and they are in this speech. Sit down, listen closely, and this time, do not drift, because what you're about to hear can either break the chains forever or tighten them one last time. You think wealth is a matter of fortune? Then let me awaken you. No man stumbles into riches. He plants them. He does not receive them by favor. He commands them by law. Every dollar earned, every fortune formed, every empire built began as a single seed of thought, not labor, not chance thought. The law of prosperity is not hidden. It is ignored. You wait for signs. You wait for the world to reward you for your wishes. But the soil does not bless the man who holds the seed in his hand. It blesses only the man who plants it. This is your hour of planting, and I speak now not to your ears, but to your command center, your mind. The seed of wealth must be chosen deliberately. The ground of your subconscious must be broken by repetition. The harvest is produced only through consistent faith, speech, and action. If you plant confusion, you shall reap failure. If you plant vague hope, you shall reap delay. But if you plant definite purpose, faith, and decision, the world must by law conform to the pattern you build. You say you want riches, but your mind is scattered. You think of success 1 hour and fear the next. You declare your dream in the morning and doubt it by night. The soil does not respond to contradiction. The soil responds to definite command. And I tell you now, no man becomes rich who does not command. You do not wait for wealth. You grow it. You grow it by law. You grow it by planting thought into your subconscious until it becomes identity, until it becomes the very nature of your being. The man who becomes rich does not become something new. He becomes exactly what is rehearsed, what is spoken, what is imagined, what is believed. This is not fantasy. This is the method by which Edison lit the world. He did not hope the bulb would shine. He believed, spoke, worked, and acted on what the world had never seen. It is the method by which Ford imagined the automobile in every home while others laughed. It is the method by which Carnegie challenged me. Yes, challenged me to write down the purpose of my life and then repeat it until the world could not deny its reality. He did not say try. He said declare. And I obeyed. I wrote. I repeated. I believe, and over time, the world bowed to what I first wrote in silence. And so shall it bow to you if you obey. You say, I want more. But the question is, have you written what more means? Have you repeated it aloud with belief? Have you taken the daily steps to plant it, water it, protect it? If not, you are not building, you are wishing. And the universe does not pay wages to wishers. It pays builders. So I tell you this with fire. For the next few moments, you shall be given 7 mental laws, 7 principles, 7 seeds. Each one, if planted, spoken, and obeyed, will take root in your subconscious, and from that root will rise the tree of your prosperity. But I must warn you, this is not a game. This is not something to try when convenient. These are laws. They cannot be broken. They can only be ignored. And if you ignore them, you shall continue to wander. You shall continue to drift. You shall continue to beg for the fruit you have not sown. You cannot reap what you refuse to plant. You cannot plant while waiting for conditions to be perfect. You cannot delay and expect the law to reward you. The ground does not wait for the lazy man. Why then do you wait? Carnegie did not wait. Ford did not wait. Edison did not wait. They acted in law. They moved when others hesitated. They planted when others hoped. They built their fortunes while the world asked permission, and they became masters of their fate. You must do the same. But to do so, you must become definite in your purpose. You must write the law you will obey. You must repeat it aloud until your mind accepts it. You must act daily upon that purpose, even when the world does not applaud, even when the results are invisible. For in the invisible roots lies the visible fruit. And now it is your turn. You shall no longer walk in confusion. You shall no longer whisper your desires. You shall no longer plant weeds of doubt and expect fields of gold. You shall rise. You shall choose your aim. You shall believe in your wealth before it appears. You shall speak it, think it, act upon it daily, and you shall reap because the law says you must. So let us begin. Let us plant the first seed. Let us write the aim. Let us break the ground of the mind, and let the planting of your wealth begin by law. Principle 1, the seed of definite purpose. Wealth flees the vague. It obeys the definite. The very first act of a man who intends to become wealthy is not to labor harder, nor to ask for advice, nor to plead with fortune. His first act is to become clear, and clarity begins not with talk, but with ink. Until your purpose is written, you have none. You are a wanderer with wishes, not a builder with plans. The first principle of prosperity is this: no wealth shall appear until a definite chief aim is written, spoken aloud, and burned into the mind through repetition. You must know where you are going, and you must declare it to yourself in language that leaves no doubt. A man with no written aim is like a ship at sea without a compass. It may move, but it shall never arrive. I learned this truth from the lips of Andrew Carnegie. He summoned me into his presence and asked, "What is your definite purpose?" I stumbled. I hesitated. I answered with vague words and general hopes. He said nothing at first. He merely looked at me with quiet strength and then spoke words that changed my life. Until you write your purpose and repeat it daily, you are not a man. You are only a shadow. Those words struck my spirit like lightning. I went home and wrote down what I wanted. Not a casual sentence, not a hopeful thought. I wrote a declaration. I put emotion behind every word. I read it aloud. I repeated it morning and night, and something changed. Slowly, the universe began to respond, not because I was worthy, but because I had finally declared. Understand this. A written aim turns wandering thought into a plow. It breaks the mental soil. It organizes your ideas. It gives direction to your subconscious mind. The world outside you begins to move only when the world inside you is first made definite. Until your purpose is in ink, it is only a wish, and wishes do not move a universe. Commands do. You do not say, "I would like to succeed." You say, "I will accomplish the specific outcome by this date. I will exchange this value. I will create this impact." That is a command. That is a blueprint. And once it is written, it is no longer floating in the clouds of possibility. It is grounded in the law of action. The man who writes his definite chief aim and reads it aloud morning and night is building a foundation no storm can shake. He is giving a subconscious mind an unshakable order, and your subconscious will obey what you repeat, so long as you repeat it with belief. Affirm this now. I write my definite chief aim. I repeat it aloud. I burn it into my mind. My life obeys the law I declare. Do not dismiss this as mere routine. It is the beginning of everything. The seed that is never planted can never be watered. The goal that is never written can never be built. A man may spend years working with all his might, but if his labor is undirected, he is like a man swinging wildly in the dark. You say you want success, but what do you mean? What shall it look like? What do you expect to receive? What are you willing to give in return? By when shall it be done? If you cannot answer these, you are not yet serious. You are flirting with fortune instead of committing to it. Sit in silence. Take a pen. Write your definite chief aim as though your life depended on it, because it does. Read it aloud when you rise. Read it again before you sleep. Do not whisper it. Declare it. Do not read it like a sentence. Read it like a vow. Let your voice awaken the soul. Let your ears hear your intention. Let your spirit know it has been summoned to obey. Your chief aim must be clear. It must name the amount of wealth you will acquire, the time you will acquire it by, and the service you shall render in return. Vagueness is the death of prosperity. Specificity is the breath of it. Speak your aim as a builder holds a blueprint, not as a dreamer hoping for favor. Do not touch sleep without having first rehearsed your aim in the chamber of your mind. You must not drift into the night like a leaf in the wind. You must go to rest having given your subconscious its orders. And when you do this, you shall wake with direction. Ideas will come. People will appear. Circumstances will begin to align, not by magic, but by law. The man who writes his purpose has already begun to build it. The man who repeats it aloud has begun to believe it. The man who believes it begins to act, and the man who acts with belief must succeed. I tell you this plainly. Until your aim is written, you are not in control of your destiny. You are reacting. You are following the currents of stronger minds. But once your aim is declared, you become the stronger mind, and all else begins to bend around the certainty you express. Do not delay. Do not wait for the perfect wording. Write your aim today. Post it where your eyes must see it. Speak aloud every morning. Even if you do not yet believe it, especially when you do not believe it, for belief is not required at the beginning. It is forged by repetition. Every great man I have studied had a definite chief aim. Everyone, not most, all without exception. Some wrote on their walls, some kept in their pockets, some etched in the chambers of their minds so deeply that they could not succeed. They burned the aim into their being until the world had no choice but to deliver. Now it is your turn. You must stop hoping. You must stop wishing. You must command. Write your aim. Declare it aloud. Speak it with passion. Repeat it until your voice carries the weight of certainty, until your mind is saturated with purpose, until your spirit moves at the sound of your own command. Principle 2. The soil must be prepared with faith. The seed of wealth has now been written, but a seed, no matter how potent, cannot grow in barren soil. And the soil of your mind must be prepared, not with chance, not with hope, but with faith. Thought is the seed, but faith is the soil. If your belief is weak, your fortune shall never rise, no matter how noble your aim. Faith is not blind. It is not emotional hope. It is spiritual certainty, built by repetition, decision, and mental command. It is the knowing, not the wishing, that what you planted will bear fruit. Just as the farmer does not dig up the ground each day to check if the roots are growing, you must not disturb your purpose with doubt. You must believe it is working, even when you see nothing. Understand this law. Thoughts plus faith equals prosperity. A thought without faith is a dry root in dead ground. But when the thought is fertilized by unwavering belief, it begins to pull power from unseen sources. Infinite intelligence does not respond to empty wishing. It responds to definite belief. I have written before, and I repeat it now. Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Without it, you may labor, you may act, you may strive, but your efforts will yield confusion and delay. With it, the smallest act becomes mighty. The faintest whisper becomes a trumpet. Let me give you a man who knew this law, Thomas Edison. He failed 10,000 times in pursuit of the electric light, 10,000. But never once did he speak defeat. He saw the light before the world did. He lived in the certainty of its creation long before the bulb ever glowed. That was not stubbornness. It was faith. Faith is a soil that does not ask how. It obeys the law of it shall be done. It does not consult current evidence. It commands future results. And it is built, not given. You do not wait for faith. You build it by repetition. You train it by what you speak. You nourish it by what you choose to believe, even when the world gives you no reason to. Faith is not passive. It is not the idle acceptance of fate. It is the aggressive decision to walk as if the thing you seek already belongs to you. It is the inner fire that says, though I see no harvest yet, I know the ground has received my seed. I will walk in the direction of its fruits. This is the kind of faith that moves wealth. Affirm this now. I believe in the riches I command. I see them before they appear. I walk in possession before the world confirms it. But how shall this faith be built? Through the principle of autosuggestion. Every time you speak your definite chief aim aloud with belief, you are fertilizing the ground of your subconscious. You are watering the soil. You are saying to your inner mind, this is truth. This is reality. Build it. This is not superstition. This is law. The subconscious mind responds only to repetition laced with emotion. That is why I have commanded you. Read your aim aloud with feeling. Without emotion, your words are dust. With belief, they are seeds of gold. You cannot feed your mind both faith and doubt. One must die. The man who speaks belief and then questions it in silence is building and tearing in the same breath. You must be ruthless with doubt. You must replace it, not reason with it. You cannot argue with poison. You must eliminate it. And every time you feel fear, every time you feel unworthy, every time you wonder if you'll succeed, you must speak your aim again. You must drive belief into the soil again. You must declare, this is mine. I shall have it. I am building it now. And do not confuse faith with arrogance. Arrogance says, I do not need instruction. Faith says, I shall obey this law until the result comes. One denies truth, the other applies it, and only one yields prosperity. Let me give you a command. Repeat your purpose aloud with feeling 3 times daily, once in the morning, once during the day, and once before sleep. Let the tone be full. Let the breath be deep. Let the words be certain. This is the daily act of the wealthy. The greatest fortune you shall ever earn is not in coins. It is in belief. For belief becomes behavior. Behavior becomes habit, and habit becomes destiny. Do not neglect this soil. Do not leave it to chance. Cultivate your faith as a gardener tend the ground, daily, deliberately, and without fail. Now ask yourself, do you believe in what you wrote, not as a wish, but as a command? If not, then speak it again. Speak it again. Speak it again until your mind begins to bend towards certainty, until the words no longer feel foreign but familiar, until your heart answers back with, yes, this is mine. Remember this law. Feeling makes a thought grow. If you speak without feeling, you will reap nothing. But if you speak with faith, if you speak with inner fire, if you speak with the authority of a man who already possesses the thing he names, then the world must obey. So now you know the truth. The seed has been planted, but the soil must be nourished, and the soil is belief. Faith is not an accessory. It is a necessity. Without it, your seed dies in the ground. With it, your purpose becomes unstoppable. Now move forward. You have planted the seed. You have begun to nourish the soil. In part 3, we will confront the truth that riches obey planting, not wishing. Principle 3, riches obey the law of planting, not wishing. You now hold a written aim. You have begun to nourish it with faith. But understand this. No matter how noble the purpose, no matter how deep the belief, wishing alone shall produce nothing. Riches come only by the law of planting, and a planted thought must be reinforced daily, not daydreamed occasionally. Wishing is what idle men do. They speak softly of what they hope for, but never move with the force of decision. The drifter wishes, the builder plants. He takes the image in his mind and drives it into the subconscious with relentless repetition, discipline, and thought. You do not get what you wish. You get what you sow. A field will never yield a crop just because a man wants it. He must turn the soil, insert the seed, water it, shield it, and tend to it daily. Then, and only then, shall a harvest come. Your mind is that field. Your thoughts are the seed. But only through the law of deliberate planting will riches ever appear. Understand this. Your thoughts are either idle or intentional. An idle thought is a weed. It grows by neglect. It invites fear, uncertainty, and stagnation. But a planted thought is precise. It is chosen, repeated, believed, and enforced through daily command. You must become a gardener of the mind. You cannot think of poverty and attract riches. You cannot dwell on lack and build abundance. You cannot rehearse fear and expect courage. This is the law. What you plan in your mind, your life must obey. And most men suffer not because of fate, but because they have planted confusion. Let me give you an example. Henry Ford did not build his fortune by luck. Long before a single car rolled off a production line, he had already constructed the idea in his mind. He saw the process. He believed in mass production when others called it foolishness. He planted the thought of efficiency daily until it became reality. Ford did not wait for conditions to improve. He did not wait for others to agree. He acted upon the thought that he planted and kept planting, even when failure stared him in the face. He knew the truth. Thought, planted with belief and acted upon with purpose, becomes destiny. Now I say to you, what are you planting each day? Each day that you rise without repeating your definite chief aim, you are planting weeds. Each hour spent in idle thought, mindless conversation, or drifting desire, you're allowing weeds to take root. And weeds are not neutral. They choke the seed of success. You must become a man of active thought. Your mind must not wander. It must work. You are not to think randomly. You are to think deliberately. Begin your morning by planting the image of wealth. Speak your aim. Declare your identity. Water it with faith. Do this before the world begins to pull at your focus. Affirm this now. My mind is a field. I plant prosperity, not confusion. I water it with belief. I guard it from fear. I reap what I command. You do not need more time. You need more planting. You do not need more chances. You need more repetition. Stop waiting for better conditions. Start building better thoughts every day. You do not plant, you invite decay. And every day you do plant, you strengthen the roots of your future. Now understand the law of cosmic habit force, the invisible law that binds repeated thought into habit and habit into reality. The more often you think a thought with belief, the more that thought becomes automatic. And once it becomes automatic, it begins to direct your decisions, your emotions, your speech, your results. Habit force is the soil's memory. It does not forget what you plant. If you think fear, delay, and indecision each morning, it will grow more of it. If you think purpose, courage, and wealth, it will multiply the seed. But it must be done daily, not once, not occasionally, but every single day. Do not tell me you are too busy to plant thought. A man who is too busy for 5 minutes of purpose is not building success. He is building failure on schedule. Guard the time, and use the time to plant with intensity. Just as a farmer rises early to sow before the sun scorches the earth, you must rise before the world speaks to your mind. Plant first, speak first, repeat first. Let the first voice you hear each morning be the voice of your purpose, not the voice of confusion from the outside world. Let me give you your command. Each morning, before you eat, before you speak, before you listen to the opinions of men, plant the thought of wealth into your mind by repeating your aim aloud with belief. Each evening, before you sleep, repeat it again. Feed the soil as your subconscious opens to receive it. Do not wait for motivation. This is not about how you feel. This is about what you are commanded to do. The weak man seeks to feel ready. The strong man plants anyway. And by obeying this command, he trains his emotions to follow. You are building a mind that cannot drift. You are replacing idle thinking with organized planting. And organized thought is the root of every great fortune. Do not seek more information. Do not wait for a sign. Begin to plant. Begin to sow. And the harvest must come. Now prepare to move forward. In Part 4, I will teach you that once the seed is planted and the soil is nourished, it must be acted upon as though the harvest were guaranteed. Principle 4, you must act as though the harvest is guaranteed. No matter how clearly you write your aim, no matter how faithfully you speak it, no matter how deeply you believe, it will not bear fruit unless you move. Action is the bridge between thought and possession. Action is the proof of belief. Without it, you are no sower. You are merely a man gazing at the field, hoping it will plant itself. Faith must not stand idle. It must walk. It must build. It must advance as though the outcome were already certain. When a farmer casts a seed into the earth, he does not sit in fear. He does not ask, "What if it fails?" He does not revisit the field and dig up his work. He expects a harvest. He moves forward with confidence. And so must you. You must act in absolute faith that your riches are on the way, that the moment you planted your definite chief aim and reinforced it with repetition, belief, and thought, you set in motion unseen forces. But these forces only respond to continued obedience, and movement is obedience. Rockefeller was not praised when he expanded during financial crisis. He was not cheered when he bought failing refineries. He did not act because others believed. He acted before belief appeared. That is the law. The rich man moves first. He does not wait for applause. He moves because he is governed by internal law, not public opinion. Every man who built a great fortune moved when it made no sense to others. Edison built the electric light through 10,000 failures. He did not wait for a crowd to believe in his idea. He acted because he had already decided the outcome. The outcome was real in his thought. Therefore, he built in advance. Now I say to you, do not wait. Do not delay your movement. Do not postpone your first step, because the path is not lit. The path becomes visible after you begin to walk it. Action fertilizes your belief. Every time you move, you multiply the power of your thought. Let us burn this into mind. I act before the world approves. I speak before it claps. I build before it believes. These are not poetic phrases. These are laws of wealth. The man who waits for signs is a beggar. The man who moves with vision is a builder. You must build as though the riches were already yours. You say, but I do not see results. I say, then plant more, move more, water more, but do not cease. You do not question the harvest every hour. You do not dig up the roots to check their progress. You continue in faith. You act in rhythm. You obey the law of motion. Action is not to be grand. It is to be daily. If your aim is to build a business, send the letter, make the call, write the page, study the market, build the plan. If your aim is to attract wealth, begin by creating value. Solve a problem. Offer your service. Develop your idea. But move every day. Do not confuse planning with action. Many men are buried beneath beautiful plans. They have drawn the map, but have never taken the first step, and they wonder why no riches arrive. It is because the soil only responds to the one who plants and waters, not the one who dreams of planting. You must now form a pattern of movement. Decide that every day, without exception, you shall take one definite action toward your definite chief aim. Not 100 vague steps, one clear, focused, deliberate act. This is how a fortune is built, not by frenzy, but by rhythm. Affirm this. I move daily in obedience to my aim. I build even when the world is still. I act with the certainty of one who owns a harvest. This is not optimism. It is discipline. It is spiritual law. You are to act in harmony with your thought, and when your thought and movement are aligned, nothing can stop you. Beware the man who studies but does not act. He is the most dangerous kind of drifter. He wears the garments of wisdom but possesses none of its power. For power is not in learning. Power is in the use of what is known. Do not say, I do not feel like acting today. The builder does not wait for mood. He obeys the law, and law is not based on emotion. It is based on command. You must become a man who acts regardless of how he feels. When you move, you teach your body to obey your mind. And when the body obeys the mind, you become a master. You are no longer a slave to fatigue. You are no longer governed by distraction. You become a man of dominion. Let this be your command. Every day, take one deliberate action that proves your faith in your purpose. Do not explain it. Do not justify it. Do not wait for perfect timing. Act. Act now. Act again tomorrow, and again the next day. Movement builds momentum. Momentum attracts opportunity. Opportunity only arrives to the man who is already moving. It does not visit the one who is still. It does not reveal itself to the one who waits. It appears in the path of motion. You must be in motion to receive it. Each act, no matter how small, is a vote for the new identity you are forming. When you act with power, you feed your belief, and belief becomes identity, and identity becomes destiny. Let us close this part with your declaration. I act before I am ready. I move before I am approved. I believe as though I already possess the riches I command. Now prepare yourself for the next law of prosperity. It demands that you guard your mind from noise, that you protect your focus in silence. Let us move forward. Principle 5. Wealth grows best in the silence of inner discipline. Riches are not born in noise. They are conceived in silence. They are nurtured in solitude. They are matured in the still chambers of a man's disciplined thought. A mind that is never quiet can never command. A man who does not guard his inner world is already conquered by voices that are not his, by urgencies that are not real, by a world that profits from his distraction. To build wealth, you must first learn to sit in stillness and hear the voice of law. This voice does not shout, it whispers, and it will never be heard by a man whose days are ruled by chatter. He who fears being alone with his own thoughts has not yet claimed authority over them. And a man cannot lead his life if he is afraid of the counsel of his own mind. Lincoln was not loud. He was deliberate. He would sit for hours, not to escape action, but to shape it. He understood what most men miss. Clarity comes not from reaction, but from reflection. You cannot command great riches with a reactive mind. You must be still long enough to listen to purpose, to consult with infinite intelligence, to receive instruction from the inner chamber. Say this aloud: I protect my silence. In silence, I hear the voice of purpose. In silence, I multiply riches. Do not confuse stillness with laziness. This is not the idleness of drift. This is the sacred silence of builders. This is the discipline of those who seek mastery. Before you act, you must align. Before you speak, you must listen. Before you command, you must commune with the law of your own spirit. Make it a daily law. 15 to 30 minutes of complete silence, not with the aim to escape, but to prepare. During this time, repeat your definite chief aim. Visualize it. Speak it aloud or simply sit with it, holding it in the chamber of your mind like a precious flame. Let no day pass without this private meeting with your purpose. Infinite intelligence speaks most clearly when the conscious mind is still. The greatest ideas are not shouted into your mind. They arise in calm, like a pearl forming deep beneath the waves. You must become still enough to notice them, and when they arrive, write them down, obey them, test them. Distraction is a destroyer of riches. And today's world is a festival of distraction. Every bell, every voice, every gossip and opinion seeks to pull your mind from its throne. The average man is ruled by noise, but you are not average. You are not available to every voice. You do not answer every message. You do not chase every opinion. You are not led, you lead. Say this with power: I am not accessible to confusion. I do not think with the world. I think with law. You must now pull the weeds from your garden. And weeds are anything that breaks your focus. Gossip, news, complaining without aim, idle arguments, emotional reaction. These are not small matters. They are seeds of poverty. For every moment you spend reacting to noise is a moment stolen from building riches. Lincoln wrote letters in silence. Edison took long walks in silence. Ford sat alone and visualized machines in motion. Carnegie removed himself from the noise of critics to concentrate on the structure of his empire. These men understood a truth that must now become your own. No riches can flourish in a noisy mind. Make this a law. You shall have a chamber of silence. It may be a room, a chair, a walk through the woods, or even a closed door at dawn, but it must be sacred. It must be regular, and it must be yours. In that place, no world is allowed. Only purpose, only law, only the voice of the self you are becoming. And in that silence, ask questions of purpose. Not what do I feel, but what is required of me? Not am I ready, but what action aligns with my law? You are not consulting emotion. You are consulting destiny. The difference is everything. Let us now affirm again. In silence, I prepare my riches. I do not seek applause. I seek alignment. I do not chase attention. I chase command. Most men will never do this. Silence frightens them. They fear what they will find in themselves. But that is precisely why you must do it, because silence exposes your weaknesses, and once exposed, they can be replaced with strength. It is the quiet hour that reveals where your thought is scattered. It is the pause that shows you where your actions are not aligned with your words. You do not need more noise. You need more rhythm. And rhythm begins in silence. Use the silence to rehearse your affirmations. Speak them aloud until they become your thought. Use the silence to write, to reflect, to revise, to hear what law is trying to tell you. Use the silence to detach from confusion, to withdraw from the mental marketplace, to stand, even for a moment, as a man alone in dominion. The world is loud because it is lost. You are not lost. You are rising. Therefore, you must walk a different path, one of quiet power, one of hidden roots, one of unseen momentum. Riches begin in the soil, and the soil is silence. Say it one more time. I protect my silence. In silence, I build a thought that shapes my wealth. When you honor this law, you will notice your voice gains weight. Your presence becomes centered. You will not be moved by storms because your roots are deep. You will not be confused by trends because your course is set. You will walk in rooms with quiet fire, and others will feel it. You will not have to explain. They will know. This man is governed by something higher. Let this be your discipline from this day forward. One chamber of silence daily, one conversation with your purpose uninterrupted, one meeting with law. If you do this faithfully, your riches will no longer be scattered thoughts. They will be an inevitable harvest. Now we advance. You have written the aim. You have believed it in faith. You have acted upon it daily. You have cultivated it in silence. But now comes the next power, the spoken word, which waters the seed and commands the subconscious. Principle 6. Your spoken word is the water of wealth. The mind is the field. Faith is the soil. Thought is the seed. But the spoken word is the water. Without speech, the seed of riches dries. Without declaration, it withers in silence. A man may think of his fortune, but if he does not speak it with authority, he will never command it. For the subconscious mind responds not merely to thought. It responds to verbal law. The mouth is not just for conversation. It is a tool of creation. The words you speak aloud with belief are instructions delivered to infinite intelligence. They are the blueprints sent down to the workers of your inner world. And just as no builder constructs without a plan, no fortune is built without repeated spoken instruction. What you say aloud, you instruct the universe to obey. Say this now. I speak wealth aloud. I declare it with belief. I water my thoughts with sound. I shape my future with my voice. I have said this before through the principle of autosuggestion. Every man may become the master of himself, and yet most men misuse this principle. They speak of their problems, their fears, their doubts, and they wonder why life delivers more of the same. They rehearse their poverty aloud and expect riches. But the law cannot be mocked. You reap what you speak. Do not speak idly. Do not speak casually. Do not speak defeat. Every word is a seed, every sentence a planting, every repetition an instruction. If you say, I can't, I'm not ready, I don't know how, the subconscious accepts these as law and obeys accordingly. Speak only what aligns with your purpose. Here's the law. Every morning and every night, you are to speak aloud your definite chief aim, not read silently. Speak with emotion, with breath, with belief. The voice must carry the message deep into your spirit. The subconscious does not listen to whispers. It listens to fire, to certainty, to repetition. When I was unknown, when I was without wealth, when I was rejected, I still spoke aloud. I am building the greatest philosophy of success the world has ever seen. I had no evidence, no fame, no applause, but I had law. And the law was this: speak it until it becomes. And it did. Say it again. I do not wait to see. I speak it until I see. I declare my riches aloud until they rise before me. Let me now give you a command. Write 5 affirmations, 5 clear, powerful statements of wealth and purpose. Not vague wishes, not borrowed phrases, but declarations that match your aim. Say them aloud twice a day with force and rhythm. These are not hopes. These are spiritual orders. Here are examples you may use or adapt. I am the type of man who attracts great wealth through definite purpose. My mind is magnetized for prosperity. I speak riches into being. I am calm, bold, and certain. I command my future with thought and action. Money flows to me through law, service, and obedience to purpose. I do not hope for success. I create it daily through mental command. These are to be spoken aloud, not muttered. They are not affirmations. They are verbal blueprints. And as you repeat them, you must feel them. The subconscious mind is not moved by empty tone. It is moved by emotion-charged instruction. Let us clarify a great secret. You cannot think one thing and speak another. If your thoughts aim toward wealth, but your speech declares lack, your mind will remain divided, and a divided mind cannot command. Your word must match your aim. Your voice must reinforce your belief. This is not superstition. It is spiritual science. Edison understood it. He spoke of invention as though it were inevitable. Ford declared victory before the factory was even drawn. Carnegie built mental castles before they became steel. These men were not idle thinkers. They were verbal commanders of reality. Say aloud now, my voice build my life. I do not speak weakness. I speak law. I speak purpose. I speak prosperity. This practice of repeated verbal command is your daily watering ritual. Every repetition strengthens the root. Every declaration deepens belief. Every session trains the subconscious to obey your desire without question. Over time, you become the man who speaks with conviction because you have trained conviction into your bones. If you are tempted to skip this ritual, remember, the man who does not speak his purpose aloud is at the mercy of voices who will. The world is filled with noise. If your voice is not the strongest voice in your mind, you will be governed by someone else's law. And if you do not give instruction to your subconscious, it will follow the one who does. You cannot drift and speak with power. You cannot be ruled by mood and still command wealth. You must become a man whose mouth is a daily stream of fire, not fire of anger, but fire of purpose, of certainty, of definite desire. You must become the builder who speaks life into brick, who speaks order into chaos, who speaks faith into fear. You must become a man who speaks of success even in the silence of poverty, because he knows that spoken faith is the first step to visible fortune. Repeat once more. I do not describe what I see. I declare what shall be. My speech waters my wealth. My voice gives order to my destiny. Now begin. Write your 5 affirmations. Stand before the mirror. Say them aloud with rhythm, with breath, with belief. Say them again at night before you sleep. Let them enter your spirit. Let them shape your image. Let them magnetize your thought. Let them water the seed of your aim. Do this for 30 days without fail, and I tell you, your confidence will shift, your actions will align, your opportunities will rise. Not because of magic, but because you're obeying a spiritual law that governs all creation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was spoken. Now let us advance. You have planted with thought. You have prepared with faith. You have acted with discipline. You have spoken with command. But every field must be protected from the weeds of fear. Let us now learn how to defend our prosperity. Principle 7. You must defend the seed from fear. Every man who sows prosperity must become a guardian of that seed. For there is a thief, silent, subtle, and disguised, that waits at the edge of the field. It comes not in storms, but in whispers. It does not shout, it suggests. Its name is fear, and unless a man learns to recognize and reject its voice, the crop he plants will be choked before it ever rises. Fear is not strength. Fear is not wisdom. Fear is deception dressed as caution. It wears the clothes of common sense. It calls itself realistic, but its only aim is paralysis. It delays action. It steals clarity. It poisons the subconscious mind with confusion. And the man who allows fear to dwell in his thoughts has already handed over the key to his fortune. You cannot reason with fear. You cannot wait for it to go away. You cannot plead with it. You must replace it immediately and ruthlessly with a statement of purpose so clear, so commanding, so full of belief that fear has no ground to stand on. Say it now. I do not consult fear. I speak only to my vision. I think in law. I act in command. There are 6 known forms of fear. I have written them before. They are not ghosts of fiction. They are spiritual weeds that creep into every garden of the mind. The fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love, the fear of old age, the fear of death. Each one disguises itself as protection, but in truth, each one is a thief of progress. A man fears poverty, so he avoids risk and remains poor. He fears criticism, so he stays silent and never speaks his vision. He fears ill health, and with that thought alone, invites it. He fears the loss of love, so he never builds himself strong enough to be loved. He fears aging and spends his youth in anxiety. He fears death and so never truly lives. You must destroy these fears, not with denial, but with replacement. The subconscious mind cannot remain empty. If you remove fear, you must fill the space with faith and purpose. Repeat this. I do not speak of what I fear. I speak of what I build. My voice is loyal only to my aim. Andrew Carnegie, who I studied for 25 years, surrounded himself with men of courage, not cowards, not complainers, not fearful thinkers. He understood that the mind is influenced by association, and fear is contagious. So he built a wall of willpower around his thoughts and never allowed doubt to sit at his table. You must now do the same. Identify the fear that haunts you most. Name it. Write it down. Then take that page and burn it. Watch the smoke rise as a symbol of your new command. Then immediately replace it with your definite chief aim, spoken aloud with feeling. Do this every time fear arises. Do it without exception. Understand this. The subconscious mind is neutral. It does not judge. It obeys. If you feed it fear, it obeys fear. If you feed it decision, it obeys decision. The mind cannot hold 2 masters. You must choose daily whom shall serve. Fear or purpose, drift or command. Say aloud, I choose law. I choose purpose. I reject fear as false. I plant only belief. Fear is often felt most in delay. The man who hesitates invites doubt, but the man who acts quickly with principle gives fear no foothold. That is why I command you. When in doubt, repeat your aim aloud, then take 1 step forward. Do not seek courage. Act, and courage will find you. Most men wait for their fear to vanish, but the masters I have studied, Edison, Ford, Lincoln, did not wait for fear to leave. They moved through it. They built while afraid. They spoke while uncertain. They dared while doubting. And in that movement, They prove that action is the antidote to fear. Say it now with strength. I do not wait for fear to leave. I speak my aim. I take action, and fear disappears beneath my feet. Let me give you now a tool. When fear arises, speak this declaration with force. Fear is not my teacher. Fear is not my law. My aim is written. My mind is fixed. I walk in command. Repeat it 7 times, loudly with breath, until the fear subsides. Then continue your task. The subconscious will take notice, and over time, it will begin to default not to fear, but to faith. And this is the true transformation. When fear no longer governs your decisions, your life begins to move at a pace the old you could not withstand. You become the man who says little but moves with clarity, who decides quickly and seldom changes, who walks with certainty because his spirit has been trained to obey purpose, not panic. I tell you now, as I have told thousands, every great fortune was built under pressure. Fear was present, but it was not in command. The builder felt the same winds, but he steered with principle, not emotion. The world does not reward the fearful. It rewards the faithful. So guard your seed. Speak your aim. Move through doubt. Replace every whisper of fear with a louder voice of belief. And if the fear returns tomorrow, you repeat the process. Not once, but daily, until fear finds no welcome in your house. Now we move forward. You have planted the seed. You have watered it with faith and speech. You have defended it from fear. But remember this: no seed bears fruit in a single day. Wealth is not an event. It is a habit, a rhythm, a way of life. Let us now enter the final principle. Let us finish the pattern that rewrites destiny. Principle 8, repetition, is a tool of infinite intelligence. You who have planted the seed, watered it with faith, spoken it with power, and defended it from fear. Hear me now. Nothing grows unless it is repeated. Repetition is a tool of infinite intelligence. It is a motion by which all form is shaped, all belief is built, and all riches are delivered to man. The farmer does not scatter a single seed and wait in hope. He returns to the field. He waters daily. He watches the sun. He protects it with labor, discipline, and rhythm. So, too, must a man who seeks prosperity. He must return to mind every day, planting, reinforcing, rehearsing his definite chief aim with relentless consistency. Say it aloud. I repeat my aim until it becomes my nature. I speak wealth until it feels natural. I plant prosperity until it becomes my harvest. Do not believe that success is a moment. It is not a single breakthrough, a one-time opportunity, a fortunate meeting. Success is a pattern, a habit of mind, and that pattern is built by repetition with belief. All wealthy men you admire, whether they wrote their names in steel or in speech, followed a pattern, for it had a schedule fixed in thought and motion. Edison lived by design and habit, even in chaos. Carnegie read his aim to me not once, but every time we met. They did not act at random. They built routines, and those routines became their wealth. Do not trust emotion. Emotion changes. Feelings fade. But repetition creates belief, even when you do not feel it yet. Speak your aim aloud every morning. Repeat your affirmations each night. Review your plan. Take your steps and return again tomorrow without fail. Repeat this now. I do not depend on mood. I build by law. I rise by rhythm. I repeat until I become. Why does repetition matter? Because the subconscious mind does not accept a thought the first time it hears it, nor the second. It must be impressed, and only thought charged with emotion and spoken with belief can do this. Once impressed, the subconscious acts without hesitation. It becomes your silent builder. But beware, the subconscious also repeats what you allow by accident. If you rehearse fear, you will live in anxiety. If you rehearse excuses, you will drift. If you repeat laziness, your body will decay and your aim will vanish. Every day you do not repeat your aim. You are rehearsing its opposite. You must now declare your new identity, not once, but daily, morning and night, rain or shine, until the voice of the old self fades and your true voice is all that remains. Say it now with force. I am the man who builds. I am the man who speaks wealth. I am the man who repeats law until it becomes nature. Set your morning. Begin with water, movement, and the spoken aim. Before the world speaks, you must speak first. Set your night. Review your day. Speak your purpose. Fall asleep with command. These bookends are the tools of transformation. Without them, you will drift. The world around you will not help you remember your law. It will pull at your focus. It will tempt you to delay. That is why you must build a world within you that is stronger than the one around you. And that world is built by repetition of vision. 30 days of repetition will shift your identity. 60 will harden it. 90 will seal it. But you must not stop. The old self waits in silence, hoping you will quit. Do not give him room. Each day you repeat, he fades. Write this law in your chamber. I do not rehearse weakness. I do not speak failure. I rehearse wealth. I rehearse purpose. I rehearse my true name. Do not make repetition a chore. Make it a privilege. A builder does not curse the brick. He lays it with care. So, too, must you speak your aim, not with boredom, but with belief, with fire, with joy, with clarity. This is the tool that sets you apart from drifting men. Remember this. You are not what you wish. You are what you repeat. You are not what you hope to become. You are what you declare daily in voice, in thought, and in action. This is the law. This is the path. This is how mountains are moved and fortunes are formed. Now say this. I repeat my aim until the world reflects it. I repeat wealth until it becomes my environment. I repeat command until I become unstoppable. As you repeat, notice your walk change, your tone sharpen, your spine straighten. You are not playing with ideas. You are building identity. And that identity becomes your magnet. It draws to you men, resources, guidance, and riches because you are no longer signaling confusion. You are broadcasting command. The builder of prosperity does not ask if the method is working after 5 days. He obeys the law until the harvest comes. If you trust the soil, you will not dig it up every morning. You will water. You will wait. You will repeat. Write your affirmations. Carry them. Speak them. Review them. Memorize them. But most of all, live them. For it is the living of law, not the knowing of it, that builds wealth. Say these aloud, day and night. I am the type of man who commands wealth with purpose. I repeat my vision until it becomes visible. My words are law. My aim is fixed. My habits are wealth. If you ever feel lost, return to your pattern. The pattern is the master. The routine is the savior. The law is your direction. Let others wander. Let others hope. You repeat. You rehearse. You build. And so I say to you now, you have planted, you have spoken, you have believed, you have moved, you have defended. And now you repeat until a harvest comes, until the old voice dies, until prosperity becomes not something you chase, but something you are. This is a final seal, the final principle, the daily act of repetition. Spoken with emotion, acted on in discipline, refined in law. You now hold the power to form wealth by thought. The seed has been planted. Let it now grow through your will. Say it one final time. I repeat my law until I become it. I rehearse wealth until I embody it. I do not guess. I grow. I do not wait. I plant. I do not fear. I build. Now go, not with noise, but with rhythm. Not with excitement, but with decision. Not with delay, but with obedience. You are the sower. You are the law. You are the seed, the voice, the water, and the hand. And you will reap exactly as you repeat.